Leaving the new LAX International Terminal, we flew KLM direct to Amsterdam. You gotta love an airline that gives its business passengers Dutch houses, full of gin. Flying over the flat Dutch landscape, we landed in Schiphol Airport, which is actually one of the best airports in Europe to fly into for connections. We spent some time in the Crown Lounge waiting for our connecting flight to Vienna, but this terminal features shops with fresh tulips and seeds, and the adjacent restaurants and bars were just great. They even have Swarovski crystals duty-free. We made our connecting flight with ease and finally arrived in Vienna, Austria.
We checked into our Airbnb apartment in downtown Vienna, near the theater district in the Naschmarkt, the farmers' market. When we opened the door, we were pleasantly surprised with this spacious and luxurious place. Here's the kitchen. No TV, but we always have KTLA.
And naturally, the bathrooms had 17th century family portraits just hanging on the walls.
And here's Angie's little room. And that was the quick tour. The next morning, we met up with our host, Benno, at Café Julius Meindl, open since 1862 for a quick café job.
Today, with its original logo created in 1924, it's a 3-story culinary landmark cafe and restaurant. The shelves are stacked with gourmet food items, local produce, and of course, coffee. The Turks first accidentally introduced coffee here during the siege of 1529 when their retreating troops left it behind.
On we went with our host Benno, who explained the history of the city to us in great detail. The mix of old and new architecture is truly inspiring. We walked a good mile until we reached the city park adjacent to the Hofburg, the Austrian Imperial Palace. There, the Argus Bike Festival was also going on, a stark contrast to the old facades of Vienna's glorious past.
We walked through the Hofburg passageways to the city centre, where all the horse carriages, also known as fiacres, gather to escort tourists around town. We passed by the Spanish riding school into Graben in the heart of Vienna, with all its prestigious storefronts nestled inside the historic architecture.
For a typical Austrian evening, Benno invited us to the Martin Sepp restaurant in the wine tavern village of Grinzing, where the famous Heurigen wine is made.
And there we met up with a bunch of British tourists, got serenaded by Austrian folk music, and the evening took its ugly course.
The next morning, it was on to Fleming's for an opulent breakfast like something from my childhood. Just take a look at this spread.
Benno took us downtown again for a tour of the world-famous Stephansdom. It's currently being renovated, and it takes years to wash the stone and replace the broken pieces, so they do it one side at a time.
And what's a red couch doing in the middle of the street?
We sadly passed by more coffee houses like the famous Café Korb, Demel Ice Cream right by the Dom, and window displays full of amazing fine china and jewelry. The nearby Naschmarkt is also a must-see with its artisanal farmers, vinegars, mustards, handmade pastas, and so much more.
Onwards to lunch at the Fromme Helene in the 8th district of Josefstadt, a restaurant where actors and playwrights take their break from the Burgtheater in the obligatory private room. And of course, a beer garden in the back. In the evening, we had been invited to attend the Dancer Against Cancer charity ball at the prestigious Hofburg Imperial Palace, where apparently Mozart used to gig, and where we got to open the first official waltz with my wife Ruth, ever the dancer, and my 85-year-old mom-in-law Angie. Talk about a Dancing with the Stars moment. What a thrill.
We knew it was going to be a long night, so we went back to the flat, threw on our sweats, and hit the late-night Nashmark for a dose of Bourdain-esque meat in tube form.
The smell of sausage. Go on, Bourdain, I dare you. Vienna.buzz, baby. Oh, and by the way, there's a disco.
After the worst, we decided to get our class on and have a nightcap at the world-famous Hotel Sacher. Note to self, there's nothing quite like chocolate cake to chase down a spicy sausage.
Dankeschön, Vienna. Or in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
We'll be back.